Hey there. Now that I've complained about Elon Musk being terrible for like 4 episodes straight, it's time to talk about something positive instead. And there's nothing I love more than to see people with massive platforms come out publicly in support of trans people, or just treating trans people like people. For example, even though I have mixed feelings about the guy, Mr. Beast supporting his friend Chris publicly after she came out as trans, during a time when the entire political right is fomenting a moral panic about the mere existence of trans people, is a big deal. It means a lot of kids who watch Mr. Beast will be exposed to the existence of trans people in a positive light. A trans woman being on the second largest YouTube channel in the world does in fact help normalize the existence of trans people. That is a really huge deal. But this video isn't about Mr. Beast, it's about Will Ferrell, one of the funniest actors alive today, star of classic comedy films such as Elf, Step Brothers, and The Other Guys, as well as a former cast member of Saturday Night Live. And it's about his longtime friend Harper Steele, who has written for SNL and came out as a trans woman in 2022. Ferrell has been praised recently for his private and public support of Steele. The two are even making a documentary together titled Will and Harper, in which the two, according to Rolling Stone, quote, go on a road trip and discuss her transitioning in a funny, moving tribute to friendship, end quote. Describing how Steele came out to Ferrell and his response afterward, Rolling Stone wrote, quote, Steele sent Ferrell an email. After decades of feeling like she was trapped in the wrong body, she was finally going to live her truth. He sent back a note offering love, support, and a joke or three. Ferrell also proposed an idea to his longtime friend. Steele loved to take road trips across the country. Now that she had transitioned, it would change the way she navigated such endeavors. But what if they took one together, hitting up as many of her favorite dive bars and diners and old haunts as possible, and see what happens? End quote. So this is how the idea for the documentary was conceived, I suppose. But what I want to highlight is Ferrell's response. You know, how he treated his trans friend as a person. And that's really cool, actually. There's something I really like about just seeing basic human decency these days. Perhaps because I can see so much frothing, irrational hatred of trans people online. I also have a longtime friend from like 5th grade who, less than 2 years ago, came out to me as non binary after we re-established contact. My first instinct wasn't to push them away, but to be accepting, make them feel comfortable, and ask questions, while still treating them as the same friend they've always been. You know, questions like which pronouns they prefer and if they go by a different name. Basically the same way Ferrell reacted, save for the road trip documentary. You know, this is who you are, this is who you want to be. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll respect that. I'll be supportive of that. That is how people should treat each other, whether we're cis, trans, or non binary. Ferrell and Harper discussed the documentary as well as Ferrell's knowledge about what it means to be trans in a viral clip published by Variety on January 22nd, 2024. Let's have a listen.
What was your sort of, I guess, baseline knowledge of the trans experience?
Baseline knowledge?
Yeah.
Zero. I know I'd met trans people before. I didn't have anyone personally in my life. So this was all new territory for me, which is why I think this piece is so exciting for us to kind of put out there in the world, because I think it's a chance for all of us in the cis community to be able to kind of ask questions that I know for me, it was a chance for me to ask questions that I know, and to also just to listen and to be there as a friend to discuss this journey.
Ferrell claims he had zero knowledge about trans people before Steele came out to him. Yet his first instinct wasn't to knee-jerk reject her or deny her identity. but to be there as a friend, with an open mind and an open heart, ready to learn and grow. There's just something so human about that. This is how a decent person would and should react if their friend comes out as trans. Well, okay, a decent person wouldn't necessarily make a road trip documentary, that's more of an affluent Hollywood person thing to do. But the sentiment behind the documentary, the humble and kind acceptance of a trans friend for who they are, and the instinct to want to help and make the friend feel seen, loved, and validated. That's what I'm getting at here. It's a welcome breath of fresh air, just pure human decency. This is especially true if you engage with political spaces, even passingly, because politics is full of fascist bastards who want to deny trans people dignity, rights, and sometimes even life. J.K. Rowling and Graham Linehan are two prominent examples of celebrities who were caught up in the hateful hysteria of the anti-trans moral panic, and have dedicated their entire personalities to shouting from the mountaintops how much they despise trans people for being trans. Entire political parties run campaigns on the premise of trans people being degenerate freaks that represent a threat to women somehow, even pushing narratives about trans people being groomers who endanger children just by existing. This type of bigotry is not just inhuman, but anti-human. This is why it is so important for people with massive platforms and broad mainstream appeal, like Will Ferrell or Mr. Beast, to show in a very human way that it is in fact okay and normal to be trans. Ferrell has always come across like a real person to me, not a phony celebrity who puts on a character for the camera during interviews. And the way he responded to a longtime friend coming out as trans was just very real and heartwarming. It's honestly such a great thing to see. I realize that this video has put most of the focus on Ferrell's support of his trans friend, and less focus on Steele herself. That's because I wanted to make a point about how we, cis people, ought to treat trans people. You know, like people and not freaks or monsters. This is an especially important point to make now, in this very moment of history, when the right is frothing at the mouth for the chance to oppress and even outright murder trans people. But with that said, I want to end the video with praise for Steele and any other trans people that are out there. It takes courage to come out. It takes courage to be your true self. It shouldn't, but I respect the hell out of it. Anyway, thanks for listening. This channel is committed to the fight for LGBTQ rights. Like and subscribe if you agree that trans people deserve the same respect and dignity as cis people. Thanks again for listening, and see you in the next episode of Patucation.